All right, welcome to another edition of It's the Story That Matters. I am Ezekiel Drews. I am the man in a pink suit, and this interview series is brought to you by the It's the Story That Matters by Milwaukee Independent Film Awards, which is produced by Lucid Films, sponsored by Xerox, as well as Hometown Pub and Grub so far, as well as Film Freeway. So we're glad to be a partnership with all those wonderful sponsors. I have Manju, and hopefully I don't butcher your last name, Subberwal.
Yeah, Subberwal.
Subberwal. All right, great.
Yeah.
Glad that I was able to pronounce it correctly. So I've got a wonderful filmmaker that is joining me for the call here, and we are going to discuss a number of things. But first and foremost, you are a filmmaker that has created this film called Colors, and so let's just kind of jump right in. And what was the inspiration for Colors?
So when I was thinking about making my short film, my father got ill at that time. So he has Parkinson's for like 10 years. So slowly, gradually he's losing his body functions. But recently he couldn't eat, couldn't drink. So they had to put a pipe in his stomach.
Oh wow.
So yeah, so till now, like I could live with it, but uh, it got more difficult just thinking about how slowly he's just fading away.
Mm-hmm.
So I read the story. A schoolgirl actually wrote the story. At that time, I loved the story, but like I thought it's not easy to make because like that young girl is just thinking about everything and then the VFX and But when I was going through this phase, like that's when I understood the meaning of that story. So then I wrote the script for it. So original story is she's just thinking about it, but I had because you have to show and not tell, so I had to alter it a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But it sort of gave me a little bit. It made me feel a little bit better, and like I hope for people who feel like they are hopeless might think like you can always find hope in despair.
Yeah.
uh, yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I will tell you that I both of my parents passed away very slowly from cancer. So, which is obviously to me, it's a very touching way that you have put this story together, and I can definitely identify with seeing just the different vision that you had put together for this. And obviously, I understand about watching a family member just kind of slowly kind of waste away, and there's nothing that you can really control about it. The only thing that you can control is basically how you kind of deal with it. Which your main character, she's going off to go visit, I believe it's her aunt, and so who's been suffering through all this chemotherapy, and but seeing how she had worked together with her, and just kind of to make these broad strokes of colors, as it were, and then just to like we get an idea of how an artist kind of sees the world as we jump into that animation, which I think is I didn't know that that's what we were going to see. It threw me off, and I was like, oh wow, this is pretty cool. Because at first I thought, is she actually brushing on the canvas? And then it was, it kind of just jumped us and took us into this other world. So I was very impressed with just the transition that your filmmaking team put together with this. And I believe there was someone else that did the animation. Is that right?
Yeah. So Sonalika, she just graduated from Humber College. So she's just come out of the college.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, my vision was to make a fantasy forest, but like she took it on herself to take it to whole another level.
Yeah, she's just out of college because I got to tell you, just with what she put in is extremely visually impressive, especially for someone just fresh out of college. That's something that I would probably put up there with like DreamWorks or even Disney for a lot of the quality. It's very interesting the challenge that you have to deal with because essentially, you've probably got your actors in front of like a green screen, and to have this world that they have to be able to interact with, and like they were sitting in a boat and stuff. Like it's very interesting just to kind of see how that interactive world kind of happens with a live action integrated with, I don't want to say cartoon, it's animated. So that's a very intensive process, and it's it's very well done. So very very big kudos to her. With how long was that process to get that all integrated? Because obviously you don't see that when that's being put together first. Like you maybe she gets like a sketch or something, right, and shows you this is kind of what I got an idea for. But how long did that take to integrate the live action with the animation?
So the scene itself, I think she took, because she was also studying at that time. She was just finishing. So she took 2 weeks. And I told her like Unreal has ready-made assets. You can just add them.
Mm-hmm.
But she said, no, I'm gonna make them from scratch. So sort of like that's why you will not see the visuals anywhere else, because she made it from scratch.
Yeah.
And uh, even when I saw it on the big screen, like it took my breath away for some time. So yeah, all kudos to her.
Wow. Yeah. Again, just very impressive, and it's very very well done. So please throw my compliments to her. In Colors, you explore some really deep personal themes of time and mortality. We kind of touched on it a little bit, but how did some of those, the experiences with your father's illness, how did that kind of, um, how did you kind of navigate translating that to a screen emotionally? Because that's you and I, like, we've gone through these experiences dealing with family, but how did you go about trying to get that feeling translated for normal viewers?
Yeah. So when I read the story, it was about a girl, like teenager, typical teenager, throwing tantrum. She seems like a spoiled little girl. And what I like was slowly when you enter into her world, you when you pick apart the layers of what is bothering her. So that you can understand, but to show it was a different challenge. Like you have to find a balance between you know somebody uh, who, like, she should be genuine, she should look innocent, but she should also be a girl that has problems. So it took some fine tuning of where to find a balance between these two emotions. And I think Madeline has done a pretty good job. uh, she's almost that girl. So yeah, I saw a lot of auditions on the Facebook, and I loved her audition. I especially called her. So when I met her, I said, like, I already love you. You are that girl in my mind. I now just have to see whether you can, deliver the line the way I hope to see. But like I got very lucky that I've found somebody who is that person. Like when I'm casting, I believe it's so much easier when the actor doesn't have to act like they are those people. So yeah, it solves a lot of problems for me, the casting itself, when you do it well.
Very cool. Well, thank you for sharing that. I want to talk a little bit about your journey into filmmaking. From what I was reading about you, so you used to be You were studying medicine, is that right? Were you through with medical college, or tell me a little
I
bit
have done,
about that?
yeah, no, I have done MBS MD biochemistry. So yeah, I'm a medical doctor from India. And then I've always been into arts, whether it's painting. Then I started animation, and then I started direction. And I was always doing medical job along with it.
Mhm.
But after certain point in life, like you have to make that choice, either this way or that way. Like you cannot fill both the roles at the same time. You have to, and it takes courage. So like finally I found that courage to leave a well-established career and
Mhm.
to start from the beginning. Uh, but like I love it.
Yeah, no, you've got it right there on the head. A medical profession has so much time that you have to spend in that field. I've talked to different doctors and people like for that work with or even work in like the ambulance field, and it's a lot of time that they have to spend doing all the thing because it's a very overall time consuming process, and filmmaking is also incredibly time consuming as well. I'm very glad to see that you were able to uh, walk away and take a step towards this passion, this dream that you have with filmmaking. I think that that's going to do you wonders as long as obviously everything just keeps rolling in, which is great because everything with colors has been wonderful, and I hope that you keep getting more success with that. Um, your professor in college, so they'd given you this metaphor about pursuing the two careers. To kind of just piggybacking up what we're saying here, how did that realization shape your decision to kind of just say like, yes, this is what I'm doing? And in addition to obviously everybody likes to hear about all the cool stuff, but not everybody likes to hear about the stuff that kind of sucks along the way. Like, what challenges did you find when you were making that leap, and how do you feel about that still today, with those challenges that you had to overcome?
So I'm from a family like very conservative, girls are very protected.
Mm-hmm.
And like every time my father will pick us up, So from there, to make this leap of faith, without family, without job, coming to another country, the very first hurdle is I'm scared of flying.
oh, oh boy. Yeah, no, I got you.
So, but like when you have a dream in your heart, you like I had a house, I had a car, I had money in my bank. Over here, like I'm uh, starting over again,
Mm-hmm.
and then like I can't just do any job because I have left a good job. So
Mm-hmm.
like I have to pursue what I came here for. So for me to turn down, something that is not for me and keep wanting, the dream that I came here for, that also like take guts every day to refuse the things, so as to you only do what you came here in the dream in your mind. But like it's all been worth. And why it's all been worth till now, I am not making any money as yet, is that when you're trying to be somebody else, although you have money, you have established career, everything else, but the mind keeps telling you like, this is not me, this is not my life. But now when I'm me, I'm pursuing what I wanted to be, my mind is at peace now. Like I only have to figure out, okay, where to live, how to make money, how to make another movie, where to get funds. But my mind doesn't bother me anymore. Like, it's happy. And that's the first step of, pursuing your dreams. It may sounds difficult in the beginning, but I think it's worth it. And
Mhm.
like after the colors got the success, every day I I wake up and I think about, okay, like I have all this till now, so I'm on the right track. So but yeah, it does help when your movie does good. It does sort of, it quietens your fears, the doubts, to some extent.
Yeah. Well, I think you hit something in the head that a lot of people probably, don't have that courage, and that's you've made the decision to do it. And I think that there's so many people that are out there and they would love to do something, whether it's not just filmmaking, but if they want to be an actor or actress, or if they want to go out and just make things happen, that a lot of people just have those doubts in their head about, can I actually do this? And if they would actually put their all into it, they probably could, but there's always economic uncertainties and insecurities that we all have to face. And I think that with your dedication to what you're doing with your craft, I think that you're going to go far. So I appreciate you sharing that with us. I want to pivot a little bit to you've been working a little bit on some different films here, but you've worked on animated films based on Hindu mythology,
Yeah,
and also suspense dramas like Yours Unfaithfully and, I'm going to butcher this, Tatka. Uh,
yeah, witchcraft, which
Ta-
means
Good. I'm two for two so far. How do you choose which stories to tell, and what draws you to certain themes or genres?
yeah. So when I was in India, when I was making movie, I thought movies are about entertainment, because like most Indian movie which do well are entertaining first.
Mhm.
But when I came to Canada, I studied in Toronto Film School. I learned this, that filmmaking is about having an opinion and having the courage to say it, which opened whole another level of satisfaction, like, which means like I can say what I want to say and people would come want to watch it. And like the colors has proved that you don't need to make anything that you don't want to make, just for the so that people will get entertained and watch it. Like, we underestimate the audience, I think. If you make it well, like people do like it. And movies are not just about entertainment. Like, if it has entertainment, but it should also have a take home message.
Mhm.
And like that's what I feel my genre is, because I learned animation and editing VFX before I came to filmmaking. So I love making the blend of fantasy. So like I myself don't watch too heavy sad movies. So if I have a message, I like to say it in a more fantasized version of it, a bit hyper real, so that it's entertaining to watch, but it has a soul, like it has a deeper meaning to what just comes on the screen.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm with you. With one of the reasons why this interview series is called "It's the Story That Matters" is because uh, at the end of the day, whoever is trying to tell a story, it it may be a film that, maybe technically speaking, may not have all the best cinematography, or may not have the best special effects, but if the story that they're trying to tell, and they were passionate enough and they were determined enough to spend their own money in order to get this story out there, I believe that that's what needs to be respected most, is is getting that story. And you know, obviously, if you can do it perfectly, hey, great. You know, you know that I think we'd all like to be successful with every single thing that we touch, and boom, it's you know turns to gold. Which you know that's never going to happen. That's you know with it that's fantasy right there.
Yeah.
That it just comes out right. So, but I think that like you said, you know, with stories and everything, I think telling the story and getting it out there and being able to tell those stories the way that you want to tell them with a message, you know, whether it's you know a fun message or even if it's you know something that's not so fun and dealing with you know mental illness or something like that. You know, there's definitely things that can be very important to get out there that maybe people don't think about. So um, I do want to also talk really quick. You you had mentioned previously the challenges of portraying a teenager's emotional complexity in colors, and how did you work with Madeline to help her tap into Alicia's inner turmoil without being super overt and expressing it? Because that's angsty teenagers. You know, if we you know turn it on, like they could just be over emoting on film, and that's you know that's hard to try to rein in. What was your experience with
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. So one thing I wanted that they should have a chemistry, the aunt and Alicia. So I allowed them to play, and that section where they're clapping and that game that they're playing, like it was their idea. I just said like you should sit there and just play with each other and have fun and you know get to know each other. And they did develop a chemistry. They were actually playing, you know, even if when they were not on camera. So I now realize I've heard about chemistry before, but when I actually started making the movie, I realized how important it is. Like you can't fool the audience. They know whether, you know, two people love each other or not. So that did help. Uh, Madeline, you know, she's a very shy girl, but when she comes in front of the camera, like she just transforms. um, which is you know great. Like I didn't have to work too much with her. I did have to tone down a little bit of the aggression, like finding emotional outburst and not just the outburst itself. So yeah, I didn't have that much problem with the acting itself. It was more of the pacing and you know the dialogues, writing the script. That's where you know the maximum work went on. Like I went to several of the you know people who write scripts to just you know ask them to read my script and give me you know ideas of what is missing in the script. So I did a lot of work on the script. So that's why I didn't have to do a lot of work in the shoot. I do a lot of work in pre-production, all the storyboarding and you know even the animatics. We made animatics. So you find a lot of flaws and you fix it there itself. You don't have to do it you know when you are in production. Um, so yeah, you just have to do good casting. That's what I believe. Like work on the script and do a good casting, and they are good enough to sort of you know get the nuances of you know the characters. And yeah, let them loose. It does help. If they are good, they find their way.
Definitely, for sure. Let's talk about upcoming projects on here. I'm seeing on here. So your upcoming project, Mystical Beings, uh,
Yeah.
is a blend of fantasy with philosophical undertones about finding one's lost magic. So you know you kind of touched on it before, but how do you balance you know magical realism with deeper themes in your storytelling?
Yeah. So I wrote this one. Uh, I was just, you know, my subway journey is 1 hour. So I have plenty of time when my phone doesn't work and my mind is just going. It's about a magical being, a powerful magical alien who gets teleported to Earth by mistake. And on Earth, like she just feels as ordinary as every one of us. but in her heart, she feels like she has magic. So this journey is about her finding her magic. In the end, she realizes that all of us human beings are also coming from that magical planet, and all of us have immense power within us. We have just forgotten our magic. So, maybe we all should also find our magic. And for me, like magic may seem like a big word, but magic is like one day I decide, like, this is not me. I'm going to change my life and I can change it. Like, for me, that's magic. And sometimes you have to find it, you know, like some people are too afraid to take the risk. And so they want to stay inside a box. But I feel like, there's no safety, whether it's inside the box or outside the box. Like, as they say, the ship is safer at the harbor, but that's not where it belongs. Like,
Mhm.
we must live life. You cannot keep thinking about what is safe and what is unsafe. So that's what this web series is about, is sort of persuading people, especially people like me, who are like, who are too afraid to take this leap of faith. And not only that, like all these maestros, of their fields, if they were too scared to make this journey, we would have been missing out on, all the great artists that we had. They all had to sacrifice something to become who they became. So it's not only you who's missing it out, the world is also missing out on you. You know, you could have been.
Definitely. Um, that's great, and thank you for sharing that as well. I think that's a great point about you're not just missing out, but the world's missing out on you too. I think that's a fantastic way of viewing that. With some of your other future projects that you're kind of working on here, you seem to be leaning into stories of empowerment, especially female empowerment, which I think is great, and we need that, especially with we need it with quality projects. We need to make sure that a lot of recognition that especially women filmmakers are getting. When things, not just when things, let's say like She-Hulk where it gets banned or whatever, but like when you're making an actual quality film, we need to get more recognition out there for it. Your own personal journey from what we've talked about, from what you've said, in previous conversations. Um, you talk about especially empowerment themes from your own personal journey in your work. Um, what specifically are you hoping to convey with these stories, that can help? Because I'm a father of a 14-year-old daughter, and she's always looking for, because obviously I'm just a dude, but my daughter's looking for, people in film that she can identify with as well. And what can you kind of convey to help with people like my daughter?
So, as I told you, I'm from India. We are sort of groomed in India, the females, to sort of keep quiet, push everything under the rug, don't make a scene, uh, you know. So, this movie that I have written a script of is about finding voice, like breaking silence. In this, I'm portraying silence as a demon. So the silence that we have adopted since the childhood, as we grow young, it becomes a monster. Like you keep ignoring how the boy is behaving. So slowly, as you must have heard right now, the news in India, like it's horrible. For a girl, she was at her workplace and she wasn't safe even at her workplace. So the story basically is trying to convey that it should be nipped at the bud itself. Like from the beginning, a young girl must be told to not keep quiet. So in this story, I am taking a mythological figure, Kali, goddess. She's a Hindu goddess. And in that, like she's portrayed, this powerful female goddess who has several hands, and she's very angry, and her tongue is out. So it's basically sort of inspiration for a woman. Is tongue out means like don't be quiet, like break the silence. So the story is about a college girl who's been keeping quiet about the people who are troubling her. So in the end, like she's leaving the college because a professor is sort of coming on to her, and she is scared to even complain, about him. So she's leaving the college so that she doesn't want to get into this drama. But she gets stranded on a deserted bus stop. So for how long can you avoid? So finally she finds that demon that she's been avoiding, the demon of silence. So now she has no choice but to become that Kali herself, when she cannot shy away, when she has to face her fears. So again, this is a blend of animation and reality. So I want to bring that that aura of that goddess, female goddess, with the realities of the woman today. Like it is asking the woman to be that goddess, and they can be, like it exists within them. It's the society who is trying to quieten them, uh, quieten their strength they already have. And that strength is sometimes just speaking it out. It is not that much that you can't do. It starts from just speaking out. And uh, and when you do that, like the men get the message, people who are misbehaving, that they will be told on, like they cannot behave this way. So yes. So that's movies about breaking the silence against all the crime that are happening.
That's some very powerful stuff. And I honestly don't know what to say to that, which doesn't happen very often. I usually got something, but thank you for sharing that. That I hope to see more about that as you're making your progress on that. Um, let's wrap up with this. What advice would you give to aspiring filmmakers? And I know you've talked about some of the stuff that you've also gone through personally with, leaving a secure position in order to go in there. But what other aspects have you learned along the way that if you could give advice to somebody who's just starting out, or even just somebody that's been in it for a while and just kind of struggling, what would you say is the best thing that you could give advice wise?
So I think we've heard that quote, that like you're teaching a fish to climb a tree. So when you
Not
are
heard that before, so that's the first.
no, the school is trying to do that, so everybody has their own strengths, but that comes if you are in the right field. If you're following what your heart desires, that's where your strength lies. So when you are trying to climb a tree, but you are not a monkey, uh, you know, you may do that for some time, but it's going to be very tiring and stressful. So like you should come to water if that's who you are. So that's my message to anybody who is, in the journey thinking whether to go this way or that way. I think it can seem scary, but it's only in the mind. The mind is just trained that way. From the beginning we are just trained that just do a 9 to 5 job, somebody will give you salary, and that's it, life will be good. But no, life is not good, like because there is something inside of you that keeps telling you like this is not me, and it just seems scary. It is not really that scary. And I found the power within me when I left my comfort zone. So you become more powerful. And when you are in this uncomfortable situation, you come up with ideas, you become more creative, and things just keep coming to you. You may not be able to see them, but they do. You just have to be honest to yourself.
That's great. I usually tell people if they're looking for some advice, I'm like, just get involved, get involved at a small level. Like if you're interested in getting in there, you can, get involved with like a 48-hour film project or something, just to see kind of like if you're interested in the acting, the directing, the props, the whatever, so that way you can get your feet wet. But I love it. That's great. Very heartfelt, very serious at the same time, but that was great. So thank you for sharing that. Manju, I appreciate you jumping on this interview with me today. Let's talk about where people can find you. You and I connected through Instagram. It's your Instagram handle of Manju_Subberwal, which is Subberwal. How else can we find you and follow what you're working on?
So I'm at IMDb profile as well. I'm at Facebook. So yeah, I'm on all the platforms. It's very easy to find me. Yeah, but I'm mostly on Insta. I think that's the best way to find me.
Great. And then I think I see on here as well, you've got an IMDb page. So is that pretty up to date?
Yeah. Just today I was adding the awards to the colors. And I feel you should celebrate small victories. So I'm happy at every small thing.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, great. Well, that's great. So Instagram at Manju_Subberwal. You can find her on Facebook. You can find her on IMDb. Follow all the stuff. And also make sure to pump your fist up and celebrate colors with all the recognition it's getting. Very happy to meet you, Manju, face to face, and hopefully at some
My
point
pleasure.
I'll get this. Hopefully at some point I'll get to see you in person. But thank you again, and look forward to talking to you soon.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye.